The Speaker Pro Tem. Oh, by the way, to the Speaker Pro Tem, you're doing a good job when you're at the podium there. You seem comfortable now. It took a few minutes, but you seem to be comfortable now.
Well, especially with about 3 minutes notice, Paul. Maybe that allowed me to not be so nervous. I don't know. Yeah, I got a text. I was out on the floor.
Yeah.
And the speaker
saw you reading the text.
You need to preside. Yeah.
I text one member one time, and I said, don't do that. That's cruel. Because I watched, I'm not going to say who it was, get the phone, and I said I shouldn't be doing that. So I've never done it again. Lucian, any questions you have for him? There's so many. Where do we start here? Let me do the launching of it.
He's got a big yellow legal pad here with lots of writing on it, Paul. I don't know what it is.
There's so much animosity, and when I mention it on the air, people say, "Well, look, we did come together on a couple of things here. Why can't we do it on the other ones? At least talk about it." But Lucian, go for it, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious where we are on the tax cut. What sort of feedback you're getting from the Senate, and are we going to compromise, or where are we headed?
We're going to compromise. We're going to have a bill. Scott Waller caught me when I came in the door, and surprisingly, Paul, he didn't want to talk about my spot on your show or anything else I was doing. He wanted to talk about the tax cut and what was going to happen with that. But no, and I tend to, Paul, you and I have talked about this before. I tend to be the optimist in the room on these kind of things, but I've seen them work out in my 10 years. Everybody's thought, oh, there's no way. This thing's not going to work. We're too far apart. But here's the thing, and a guest you had on earlier this week hit the nail on the head. We can get there about 15 different ways. The deal is this. Everybody in the room's got to agree on the front end that the goal is the elimination of the personal income tax in the state of Mississippi. And if that's the goal, our friends on the other end, I like those guys and girls. They are close friends of mine, and we work well on so many issues together. We need them to say that is their goal as well. And they really have not gone that far with it. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, and they've poked holes in our bill and our approach. And as you know, and as we've begged on this show and to them in person, fix it. Make it in a way that you can support it and vote for it. If the problem is raising the sales tax, take the raising of the sales tax out, and let's slow it down a little bit.
Or
let's not be as aggressive on the car tax. Yes, sir. We're willing to compromise on lots of different things. And I feel like I'm negotiating against myself and the people of the state of Mississippi when I say those things, but I've told them those things. We've told them this week. Chairman Lamar and Chairman Harkins in the Senate have had good conversations this week. We've continued to talk. I talked to the Lieutenant Governor yesterday for a little bit, specifically on this issue. I think we're going to find something. I really do. I'm optimistic about it.
One thing Speaker Gunn said when he was on Paul's show earlier this week was that he didn't, if I heard him correctly, and so you correct me if I'm wrong here, but that he didn't think any money should be spent until we had resolved the tax cut question, the tax reform question. Are we talking about a scenario potentially where the legislature could leave without a budget and have to have the governor call you back for both the budget and the tax reform if it doesn't get settled?
No, but I'm glad you asked that question so that we can clear the air about that. We're going to have a budget. It may not be as robust as some people inside and outside the Capitol would like it to be if we don't have some sort of agreement on eliminating the income tax. But here's why. The Senate's argument against eliminating the income tax is that there is financial peril looming, and they keep pointing to our, brilliant state economists to say that, man, something's coming bad. We don't know what it is, but it's coming and it's bad. Well, if that's true and that's your reason for not wanting to eliminate the personal income tax, then the last thing we need to do is spend money like drunken sailors. We've got all this money in the bank account. Our position is going to be, if that's really your position, that you think we can't do this because of some pending financial peril, and there's a lot of uncertainty around the world. And we certainly don't need to be spending all this surplus money that we have. We need to hold it. That's what you would do around your kitchen table. And so if that's going to be the approach, then, yeah, I think you would probably see that. But that doesn't mean we won't have a budget. We are planning on a budget that includes a teacher pay raise, includes the raises that we had put in place for state employees. Now, that's about it. There won't be a lot of other spending. You know, there's lots of things we want to do. We want to re-up the emergency road and bridge fund, go back there with some money, some real money there, and get that back plussed up, as well as some other things that folks want to do. I heard y'all talking about the stadium for Jackson State. That's something that everybody's kicking around. The water and sewer projects around the state. We want to do all of those things, but we've got to settle this issue first, because to me it dictates, you know, if our financial house is not in order, then we certainly don't need to be spending all this money.
Jason, seems to be a little commonality between the teacher pay raise bill and the squabble there, and also the personal income tax, because it seems some of the sameness of this is where the House is saying we want to give the teachers more money up front so they will benefit sooner. Maybe at the end, both bills are similar where they'll work out, but you don't have to wait 5, 10, 15 years. And I think it's basically what you're saying on the personal income tax. Now, if I'm a baby boomer and I find out it's going to be 20 or 30 or 40 years, I think as a boomer, 40 years from now, our tax structure is going to be a little different. Am I right or wrong about that?
You're right. When I say stretch it out, if we're being too aggressive, I don't mean 20 or 30 years. I mean, you know, we have some scenarios, unlike what a guest from the other end of the other chamber that you had on earlier this week said, it'd be 2032 or 2035 before you realized a tax break from the House's plan. It's just not true. You would immediately, in this year, see a tax break, and in 2023 we would start the process of peeling it off. I'm just saying, instead of the whole thing happening in 7 or 8 years, it may take 11 or 12 years. The governor really hadn't put forth a plan, but what he's kind of talked about was even longer than that. So I feel anything less than, if we can get it gone in 12 years or less, I think that's a achievable goal, and something that we ought to all be able to rally around, especially if we're going to get rid of about 50% of all taxpayers right out of the gate. I think that's huge for people. Now we've got it at a married couple making $80,000 would pay no income tax starting next year. I think that's if we have to lower that a little bit, if the Senate thinks we're too aggressive there, I want them to do that, send us a bill. And let me touch on the teacher pay. You mentioned that because there's been a lot of things thrown around by some of our other media outlets in the state, as well as from the other end of the building. Teacher pay and the Senate's teacher pay plan versus the House's teacher pay plan has nothing to do with income tax. If we don't pass an income tax bill this year, we will have a teacher pay plan, a good one. Now, I would just submit to you, we sent, you know, when the Senate was down there embroiled in a marijuana debate, and that was their big thing right out of the gate, we were passing a teacher pay plan that Richard Bennett and about 6 or 8 key folks on his committee had worked on for almost a year. And I would submit to you, if the Senate was so tore up and wanting a teacher pay raise, that bill should already be on the governor's desk. It's an outstanding bill. It's a good bill. And it provides for teacher assistants, which some folks would argue are more underpaid than our teachers are underpaid. So they were looking for a raise too, and our teachers were asking for those teacher assistants to get a raise. Superintendents were begging for their assistants to get a raise. So that was part of our plan. I think that's why it was so popular. And if you noticed when they did their strike all and put their language in our bill, if you will, they added teacher assistants to it, because I think that shows it was important. So yes. we're going to find common ground. You know, say our bill is great, but we're going to add teacher assistants was kind of the verbiage there. But we're going to work that out too. They've worked hard on it, and they're passionate about it. Folks on our end are passionate about it. I think there'll be a win there for Mississippians, for teachers, and for our kids around the state. And you know, cooler heads will prevail there as well.
But you don't think there's any risk that somehow that gets killed in fighting between the House and the Senate? Because some of the bills died, right?
No. I would submit to you, lots of them died just because that was what needed to happen to them. Teacher pay will pass, and I think there's consensus on both ends that will be part of a decent budget that you see us come up with.